No, there's a reason I'm dressed this way, Canberra, and that reason is, of course, because I've got a snooker match after this. No, it's because I wrote a song called Black Tie. Thanks very much. I'm going to do it for you now. And I wrote this song, 5 years ago now, I suppose, according to the lyrics. I was coming around about time. I was coming up to my 30th birthday, and I was thinking back on my adolescence. I was quite an unhappy teenager for quite a lot of reasons that all basically stem from being unhappy with the way that I was, right, the way that I am. By which I mean the fact that I am a butch lesbian, right? That's what I am. I'm a butch lesbian. That's what I've always been. I've always been a butch lesbian right from when I was basically born, maybe a bit before. And like at the age of 35, I'm very happy to tell you that I'm proud to be a butch lesbian, right? And I wouldn't change it now for the world. Thank you, but it took me a really long time to get to that pride. I was ashamed of it for most of my life, actually. When I was growing up, the world was just making me feel, in a million implicit and explicit ways, the world was making me feel like this is not an acceptable way to be a woman or a girl, right? And I always knew, right from when I was really little, I always knew that this was the only kind of woman that I was ever going to be capable of being, right? This is it, this is all I've got, And it wasn't until I was nearly 30 that I even realised that I had the option of not being shamed all the time, right? And when I figured that out, I wrote this song as like a letter to my teenage self. I was thinking if I could go back in time and talk to that 15-year-old kid, what would I want to say to her? And I realised the only thing that I wish somebody had said to me when I was 15, the only thing really that I needed to hear is there's nothing wrong with you. That's it. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing weird about you. The weird part is the fact that the world makes you think there is. And one day you're going to see through all that bullshit and you're going to be happier than you could even imagine, right? And it's got, thanks, and it's got a line in it that I'd love you to join in with. How do you feel about that, Canberra? So it's quite sweary. I will not stop it. Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry about that. I can't censor it. There's nothing I can do about the swearing in this song because it is a rhyming couplet. So my hands are tied. I feel like some people have seen us before. It's incredible. Sometimes there's an effect you can put on a microphone where it's called a delay. So everything I say is sort of echoed, and my punchlines are coming from the other direction. It's quite incredible. So what I like to do is I like to sing the first bit, and I'm going to get you to reply the second bit. So I'm going to sing the images that fucked you, and you're going to reply we're a patriarchal structure, a bit like this. And the images that fucked you, we're a patriarchal structure. Just like that, incredible. And I'd love you to sing that as loudly as you possibly can. And what will happen, Canberra? What will happen? I promise you, is the patriarchy that's wandering by outside. It's going to hear that, and it's going to think. Who's that in there that's bringing about my downfall? It's going to come in and it's going to think, it's going to see me and Ben in his bare feet and his sunglasses, and it's going to think, I didn't think these guys would be the ones to do me in, but here we are. So are you with me on that sing-along? That's what this song is. It is a letter to my teenage self, and in the years that I've been singing it, what I've learned is that it is also inadvertently a letter to a lot of people's teenage selves. That's what I've learned, right? Whatever your story is, whether you're gay, or whether you're queer, or whether you're trans, or whether you're butch, or whatever you are, what I've learned is that pretty much everybody in my experience has got a lonely teenager inside them somewhere who needs to hear that they're absolutely fine as they are. So this song is kind of for everybody, but more importantly than that to me, this song is, and it always has been, it always will be, a protest song against transphobia, right? That's what it is primarily for me. Because in the UK right now, I don't know how things are in Australia. I think, as with a lot of things, you're taking a slightly more sensible approach than the UK, but in the UK at the moment, we have this horrible, totally deliberately engineered culture war in which trans people are just the victim of a horrible smear campaign, right, which is happening now on basically a daily basis, right? The Conservative government have deliberately engineered this fucking bullshit culture war to completely distract from their own failings in exactly the same way that they did in the 1980s with gay men, right? In the 1980s, there was a horrifically unpopular Conservative government who were fucking up the entire country and starving the welfare state, and everybody was becoming fucking miserable because living was becoming unbearable, living standards were slipping so much, and that is exactly what they did then. What they did was they demonised and vilified gay men throughout the AIDS pandemic to try and create a distraction from their own fucking miserable, selfish failings, and that's what they're doing now with trans people, right? And I think it's fucking bullshit, and I find it heartbreaking and enraging in basically equal measures. But one of the things that fucks me off the most is when I see this sentiment coming from within the queer community itself, right? When I see lesbians, or gay people telling me or telling other people that, the idea of trans liberation is somehow a threat to our rights. That is not true. That is fucking bullshit and bigotry, the same as any other bigotry. Either we're all free or none of us are free. That will always happen. Thank you very much. Cool black guy, Well, it's a jungle out there. The year 2018, I didn't think we'd still be sorting babies into blue and pink. And all our progress, I wonder what it means when the only girls' clothes that work for me turn out to be boyfriend jeans. Well, that's fine, 'cause I decline a narrow set of rules that just don't work. And these red lines, they're not mine. If you need me, you can find me ironing my shirt, 'cause I'm in black tie tonight. Get a postcard to my year 11 self in a year 11 hell, saying everything's gonna be alright. No, you won't grow out of it. You will find the clothes that fit and the images that factor
the patriarchal structure.
And you never will surrender to a narrow view of gender. And I swear there'll come a day when you won't worry what they say on the labels and on the tools. You will figure out what's yours. And it's a bloody nightmare, trying to fight the spread of bigotry and fear. And that's uniting Piers Morgan in Jamaica. And all our progress, I wonder who it's for. When I dared to utter that trans lives matter, and all I got was a turf war. Well, that's fine, 'cause I decline your narrow set of rules, they just don't work. And these red lines, they're not mine. If you need me, you can find me ironing my shirt, 'cause I'm in black tie tonight. Get a postcard to my year 11 self in her year 11 hell, saying everything's gonna be alright. No, you won't grow out of it. You will find clothes that fit and the images that factor
The patriarchal structure.
And you never will surrender to a narrow view of gender. And I swear there'll come a day when you won't worry what they say on the labels and on the tools. You will figure out what's yours. You will figure out what's yours. And that it's got nothing to do with fitting neatly in a box that was constructed to make it seem like people come in just two teams, and anything that's in between ain't good enough. And you will love, and you'll be loved. You're in black tie tonight. Get a postcard to my year 11 self in her year 11 hell. Darling, everything's gonna be alright. No, you won't grow out of it. You will find the clothes that fit and the images that factor. We're a patriarchal structure, and you never review of gender, and there's folks you've yet to meet, but you're exactly up their street, and they've been waiting just as long to hear someone sing this song. Better days are on their way, when it won't matter what they say on the labels and on the tools, you will figure out what's yours. Girl, you're gonna be so happy, and girl, you're gonna be just fine.